Hi guys, I'm Summer,
And I'm Carolina.
and we're sleep consultants.
For 21 years combined and really great friends for like 2 months.
We have our own kids. I have 2 kids over 18.
And I have 2 kids under 18.
We have worked with over 1,000 families combined. That's a lot of kids.
That's so many kids. And we also run our own sleep consulting practices and we mentor other sleep consultants.
That's a lot of things that we do.
Yeah, but you know what? Our goal really is to bring peace and less stress into your homes.
And that's why we decided to do a podcast together. Call it For the Love of Sleep.
I just love that. So if you guys want some sleep tips, laugh, and know how we get through all these things, come on down and listen to our podcast. Hi everyone, I'm Carolina Romaniuk and we got Summer Hartman here. And we are so excited to have you on again for the podcast and for the YouTube show as well. But today's topic is something super important. It's about teething, right? It's such a big and popular topic, not just in our own practices, but like I think usually when parents just type in, how do I get my kids sleeping through the night? The next thing after that is, are they teething? Or how long are they teething? So let's start off with Summer. You take this.
Oh my goodness, I knew you were going to sticker this with me. All right, you guys, so teething is like, I get questions all the time. Oh, I think my baby is teething. And I'm like, well, how old is your baby? Or how old is he now? Because it's past clients. And they're like, oh, he's 10 weeks old. Or he's 12 weeks old. And I'm like, it's not teething. It might be that they're coming down through the gums because there's so many layers and they might start slobbering. But the pain part of it is not really happening until later on. And it's more close to like between, I would say, later 4 months, 5 months, you might start seeing the gums turn a little bit white. But really, teeth start to show up around 6, 7 months. So it's a long process, but I think we get really confused and we start over medicating very quickly. I have a lot of parents that start just pouring on Tylenol, and I'm like, don't give them anything. Yeah.
Or they have like how I have like this fancy necklace on, which like is like killing me.
No, I'm in bathing suits and you're in like the fancy shirt. We're totally not matching today.
You saw us beforehand. I was like eating everything that I could get my hands on because I'm so hungry. I'm not pregnant though.
She's always eating. FYI.
But when it comes with like the reason why I said like the necklace is because I've also had clients, and when I started, I remember seeing so many articles about those. I think they're the amber necklaces, the beads, right? Mm-hmm. Or when they wear them on the as a bracelet, or they put them on the foot. Yeah, they scare me. And they look cool, but do you think they work? What are your thoughts?
I think it's a placebo effect. I think it's parents think that it works, but on all honesty, we shouldn't have anything on the babies, especially when they're in the crib and or in the bassinet by themselves. I mean, we just can't trust that. I understand that accidents happen, and I know that some have fallen apart. Maybe not made as well, or the product just is like inferior. Yeah. But I wouldn't even have it on them. But I do think people really believe in them. So we might tick off some people by saying it doesn't work. But just for precaution's sake, we cannot approve that. Neither can a doctor or anyone.
Yeah, I think it's safetiness is like number one that I am always behind all the time. And I mean, I'm not even comfortable sleeping in a necklace. Like, come on, look at this thing. It's like, obviously it's not the same size as an amber necklace.
That necklace would be really uncomfortable to sleep with, I have to say.
I tried one time. I think we came home from like, I don't remember, an event a while ago. And it literally like left like imprints like right over here, like on the skin. And I woke up and my husband was like, what is going on there? I'm like, I just should not fall asleep in jewelry. So well, that's another story. But I remember with teething, when my kids were little, I felt like at 3 months they were teething, and I would call up my pediatrician and say, oh, is this too early? Is this really happening right now? and then they would say, yep, they're actually teething. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I noticed. I know you're super busy.
Sorry, my phone, it's my parents. I just keep calling. And I'm like, how in the heck am I supposed to like turn this off? Hold on. There you go. I turned off
You
notifications.
sound like me, except my phone doesn't go off. I get beeps all over the place on my computer to the point like I get so irritated, and I have no clue how to do notification sign-ups, but I've been pretty good recently. But like the 3 months, I get that often also with a lot of clients where they say, oh, I think that they're teething so early, they're advanced. And then a big thing is using that as your outlet or your reasoning for why you should not be helping your child with sleeping.
Right.
Where, teething, you're teething until you're like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah. So there's a misconception that, oh, it goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
And so I get a lot of clients that think, oh, same conversation, end of next Friday. So it's been 10 days. I think he's still teething. And it's like, if you talk to a real doctor, and I've done this multiple times with pediatricians and dentists, pediatric dentists, they only really are in pain, they generally say, within only 2 to 3 days of the tooth coming down. And then after that, no, it's actually most likely bad habits that we created during that process. So now they're all out of sync. So your phone's going off, my phone's going off. This is our life, literally. Both of us do not know how to manage. I got my bathing suit on so I can just go dunk my head after this and be like, I am not answering any more phone calls.
And before this, I was eating because it's the only time I could eat while you were talking. Oh my God, I can't. So, no, but anyways, I totally get it. Like, a lot of some of my close friends are also like pediatric dentists, and the same thing. So what I have noticed as well is, over the years, it's not, they are habits that form, but in addition, it's like sleep deprivation on top of sleep deprivation. Now you add teething, which is something that you can't, get away from. And you add on a milestone that might be happening too. And then that's no more sleep. And then we add on more habits. And it's just like we're like in this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have told parents, it can be teething. It's really rare.
Mm-hmm.
But starting the process for sleep training, you want to focus on certain things. But, you also, if it is teething, we have to kind of analyze that, right? And it doesn't last for a long time, like what you mentioned. Mm-hmm. So there are like some soothing techniques,
Let's talk about first what the side effects of teething is. It's not just teeth though. It can be runny nose. It could be sore throat. It can be ear infection, drainage in the ears. It's all pulling on the ears, coughing. It can look like a cough and yet it's teething. But most of the telltale signs is a really red cheek, like raw. That is when you know. And then they're also really clingy and they're just crying all the time. Like that's the real type of like, we know something's coming through. Yeah. And that's when all training goes out the window when your child is sick. It does not matter, but the thing is like as soon as they're better and their cheeks are a little less red and they're not as fussy with teething, they're fussy because they're tired, we have to go back to training. I always tell people we train like 6 to 8 times a year, like in that first 2 years, actually. Yeah. It's multiple times. It's just getting it right. But I just wanted to kind of bring that up, that other factors are happening that we have to look into.
Yeah. But if you like feel that it's a little more, that's me. I don't know if you hear that clicking. Like, I don't know how to turn up notifications. So
don't worry. Just keep going. Other factors are what?
No, but like everything that you mentioned to me, it would, if I'm a first-time parent and I wouldn't know that, I would think my child is like legitimately like they have a cold or like something else is going on, and I'd be always like at my pediatrician's office as like a neurotic mom, like thinking like something is always wrong. So I think like the next question is, well, how do you know if it's teething or for something more?
Right. So the next question, okay, so you would know if it's teething because it would only last for a couple of days, like that red cheek and that irritate, and you would see the tooth come through.
Yeah.
Once the tooth breaks through, there's no more pain because it's like it's gotten through. So then you should have a break, and maybe you only have a break for like a few days because the other tooth might be coming through too.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing that might be back-to-back teething. That is where your 2 weeks comes in and they're like, oh, I think he's teething for 10 days or he's teething. And that might be the case, but not every day is he in pain.
Yeah.
So we don't want to over-medicate. You want to be really liberal or really careful with the medication because they're liver and kidneys. So we want to make sure that you just allow the process to happen. Worst case scenario, don't douse them every night for bed hoping they sleep longer because it honestly probably will not work. It could make it worse because they get a tummy ache. So yeah.
And like Oragel and like the numbing creams and all. Yeah, pediatric.
I don't use it.
Yeah, they tell me never ever recommend them to your clients because they can do more harm than good in most cases. Especially like if you're numbing something and it's not put in the proper area, it could numb the whole throat.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And they don't know how to breathe through that.
Exactly.
It's extremely scary, and they start to like turn blue. And I've had a baby do that. So I don't ever recommend anything that's going to numb the mouth at all. I mean, if you're going to do anything, give them like the teethers that they have, like and put them in the freezer. Yeah. And let them gnaw on that, and that's like your best thing. It's not going to numb, but it's going to cool it off, and it's going to like take that fever down a little bit. Oh yeah, there's so many products I would not recommend.
And there are some kids that like, if they're bottle fed or if they're breastfed, that could be like super gentle, like not gentle, but it could be very discomforting for them too. So even their eating habits can start to decrease for some children.
Yes.
Because their gums are so inflamed. I've had that happen. Or it doesn't really make much of a big difference for them. So like every child is different. And I think that's also like the same for like sleep training, right? Every child kind of reacts differently. Some are more sensitive than others. And it's just kind of, this is a part of the process. So when I first started, I remember the biggest challenge that I had were parents calling me and saying, I need to get sleep. I don't know what to do, but I'm pretty sure my child is teething, so I can't start now. Can we start later? And then I'm like, you're lying. Well, I wouldn't say that, but it's just us not understanding like why this is happening to our kids, right? We don't understand like the science behind it, and we don't understand like a lot of the other factors that can be put into place. And it's kind of like why we wanted to do this video and like this talk about teething, because it is so, it's common. Mm-hmm. Right? We've even had this with our own kids. Like we were think about this. I thought this too. Like my oldest, I said at 3 months, like I called up my pediatrician and I'm like, I think he's teething and I don't know what to do. His sleep sucks. What do I do with this? And they just, they're like, whatever. So whatever. I switched pediatricians, but that's another story. So
well, don't hesitate to switch pediatricians. I've done that, and I've done OBGYNs too. I've had to switch. So we have to go with our gut on everything. I think to kind of close it off with teething is that I always tell my clients, why don't you go to the pediatrician? I want you to get them evaluated just before we do any sleep training, or just to make sure that what we're not is not a cold and it is teething. So always in the back of your brain as a mom or a dad, just get them checked. And then after that, we'll move forward with whatever plan we have. But teething is a process, and it can take over months or over like the first 2 years for teething, because we have molars coming in at 2 too. So it is a process that is life changing from the time they're born till about 2-3 years old. And then they start losing their teeth around 5. So it starts all over again. Well, that's a whole other subject about kids not wanting to pull their teeth out. Like my daughter, who then had a tooth come down in front, and then we had to have it surgically removed. Yes, teething is no fun. So, but we'll definitely. What's your last thoughts on this?
No, just that it's especially like if you're drinking like bottles for a long time, the formation of the mouth. And I've had a pediatric dentist that also told me that they had to do baby root canals, and they're very common. And I'm like, I stopped everything that I was doing at that moment, and I'm like, stop, like really, baby root canals? But they're not like as invasive as adult canal.
No, they just pop them right out.
But still,
yeah.
what? A baby root canal? I've never heard of those. I didn't know that was existing. And I knew if I didn't know, there must be other parents that don't know. But that's only like when our kids are older, like close to like a year old, and they're still, they're falling asleep on a bottle, and the milk protein creates the sugar, which creates the cavities. And then that's what kind of happens on that. But,
and that's why we suggest not putting a bottle in the bed and leaving the baby to sleep with it, because it's like you said, it sits in their gums and causes rot.
And just the other last thought is, and I know that there are going to be other moms and dads thinking about this, is that, you know, if your little one is not like they haven't gotten all their teeth or many of their teeth, and let's say like they're older, right? Like they're 18 months or 2 years old. I've worked with lots of physical therapists and occupational therapists that would also tell me, don't worry about it, because the body can only attain so much energy to master one development at a time. And development means teething is a development, also physical developments, right? Like walking, talking, crawling, like all that stuff. So I've had even close friends where their kids would literally have maybe like 4 or 5 teeth, but they could speak fluently.
Yeah.
And my son could barely say a sentence together at the age of 2, but he could walk, he could like run. He was like, you know, all over the place. He could speak great, but nothing, right? And then all of a sudden the teeth started popping out. So that's just something else is, and when I mentioned it to my husband, I'm like, I should go to the dentist. And he's like, well, what are they going to do? Pull the teeth out? Like, what's the point of going to them?
No,
like,
they'll take an x-ray just to see where the teeth are coming in.
I'm like, just to make sure they're okay. And he's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, you really thought that I was going to go there just to ask? And
like pull teeth out.
Yeah. I'm like, really? No. But that's all. And, you know, focusing on the foundation for sleep is one of the biggest things that you can do. And doing that will definitely help with easing the pain or the tension during the teething also. That's my last 3 or 4 cents that I just said.
Okay, perfect. I think we did. We covered it really well, actually. I'm really happy with this video, and I hope that it helps parents all over the U.S. who are dealing with, or anywhere, dealing with teething with their little ones. Thank you so much for watching our episode. This is Summer Hartman with Summer Sleep Secrets.
And Karolina Romaniuk. We will see each other soon.
All right.